A couple of thoughts for the day, and we'll connect the two thoughts at the end. First of all, in a negotiation, one can't win an argument when you walk into the room with a white flag waving. The act of beginning a negotiation with a collectivist, the act of beginning any negotiation with a collectivist is the same as waving the white flag, since any and every compromise with a collectivist is a loss. That's true because, to collectivists, the game is about getting movement in their direction. And be warned, the ratchet works in only one direction, to the left. And compromise is getting incremental agreement on their argument, on their position. Some Americans think that bipartisan means the two parties get together to find the right solution to a problem, collaborating and sharing ideas. To collectivists, it means giving them part of what they want. And believe me, they always come back for more. And again, soon. Second thought, job creation. Apparently, inhabitants of Washington, D.C., most of them collectivists, believe that a, quote, job or, quote, employment is the same thing as receiving a paycheck, rather than being compensated for performing a productive task. For example, Congressman Kucinich, earlier in the week or late last week, proposed encouraging early retirement for older employees of companies so that they could be replaced by younger employees, which might cost less. He suggests that it will create upwards of 1 million jobs and that he would fund the retirees' pensions with the free money that he found in a hole. In other words, the TARP money. Think about it. Is euthanasia next? When we decide that Grandpa has taken someone else's spot on Acme Inc.'s payroll, we ask him to take voluntary retirement. And I guess when we decide that he's eating someone else's meal, we're going to ask him to go on a voluntary diet. And imagine, I guess, when Grandma is taking up someone else's time or space on the mammogram, we're going to ask her to take a pill. How does this, his idea, create anything new? Does it reduce the amount of food we need to exist tomorrow so that a surplus is created? Does it create a new task or a product? Does it increase the output of the economy? Does it in any way add anything to anything? Of course not. And by the way, the Republicans aren't real clear about job creation either. One of their counter-proposals is a $5,000 tax credit for new hires. Is that a good idea? Is that productive? Let's think about it. When I used to run a company, I only ever hired a new employee when I had something productive for him to do. Not when I thought it would help the employment figures, or not because I wanted the person to get a paycheck, not so that that person could afford health care, not so that Obama could get more votes in 2012, and not so John Boehner could be Speaker of the House in 2010. I also never fired one person to make room for another, even if there was a 10% discount that day. When a business buys something, and hiring a new person is buying more labor, it is because that businessman needs that person to do something. He doesn't do it because the door-to-door salesman tells him that it's the best vacuum cleaner ever and that there's a 10% sale today, and today only. If you give him 10% of what it takes if you give a businessman 10% of what it takes to buy new labor, he still has to pay the other 90% for the new guy to stand around and do nothing. Like the wife of the old tale saying, "Honey, the shoes I bought were $50 off, so I bought 2 pair, saved $100, and spent that on a new purse." Think of it this way. Would telling everyone that they get a $5,000 rebate from the government encourage someone without the means to do so to go buy a new Jaguar convertible? Of course not. Nor will $5,000 encourage any employer to hire someone he otherwise would not hire. At best, it affects some economic behavior on the margins. Maybe there's a negotiating difference between the asking salary of the new hire and what the employer would prefer to pay, and the government subsidizes the new hire. You want new jobs? Repeal all laws that breach the federal government's limits on power. Or short of that, leave the federal law books untouched and take a 5-year break from making any new laws. Businesses will be productive even if weighed down by the tens of thousands of pages of rules and regulations that purport to control and direct economic behavior. In 5 years, Americans will have out-innovated even the most energetic regulator, and for a generation or so, not even Congressman Henry Waxman will be able to catch up to the wealth creation machine and flip its switch off. These two thoughts are linked: the negotiating tactics of collectivists and their thoughts about job creation. All of the ideas coming from the collectivists are of a piece with the two job creation ideas we've addressed today. They all assume that the answers exist in some government program or another. They believe the government can plan everything and produce a good outcome by directing economic behavior in their preferred way. Don't give an inch. Euthanasia is next. How do we know? Listen again to what I've said today for a discussion of the economic flaws of the two sample government ideas, and see what follows for proof.